Good morning, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Mountain Cabin Homestead. Today we are going to be making some probably rather drastic changes to the property, some unreversible changes, and those changes are going to be, we're going to cut down some trees. I don't know which trees we're going to cut down yet. I've marked the ones that are the most probable to come out. But the main goal for today is to get a section for this 70-foot tower that I have, which is actually over at the, I keep wanting to say other property, but it's not another property. It's the same property. It's just another build site, I guess you can say. Anyways, it's 70 foot and it's tilt up. So because it's tilt up, that means there needs to be enough clearance to tilt up. And one spot that I thought about putting it was right here, right next to right in this back corner here. And if I do that, I mean, we could tilt up from that way, which is actually probably a good idea. And then I could remove that fence, cut that tree down there. I don't know about that tree right there. But definitely would need to get rid of that tree and maybe trim this big bushy tree up a little bit. The thing is I don't necessarily want to get rid of this big tree right here. I do want to get rid of this cluster. I think this cluster is a little bit close, plus this one on the right here, and this cluster is leaning over on top of the cabin. So the issue is, there's a couple reasons why I want to remove some trees, by the way. Two issues. The first issue, I don't want a tree to accidentally fall over and hit the cabin. That's the first issue. The second issue is already this year there's been 2 nearby fires as far as the Kittitas Valley is concerned. And you know, over the last few years, you know, we've been super lucky with not having fires running through here, but you know, you never know, this could be the year. And I kind of want to be a little bit more safe than sorry, so I want a 30-foot buffer between some of these trees and the cabin. I also want to thin out this area here a little bit. I mean, obviously we've got a ton of trees to remove through here, especially some of these ones that are leaning over the cabin. Imagine if this tree here were to catch fire here, it goes up, lights all these branches on fire. These branches on fire fall directly on top of the cabin. That's the end of the cabin right there. So, and then as far as this treed area, I do want to thin it out a little bit. I've got some trees marked in here already that are just leaning a lot, that I want to calm down. And then, you know, once I do that, I could reassess which trees I want to move. All these trees marked in white here, these are the ones that are within that 30-foot barrier. Some of the smaller ones might be able to stay. I think today, well, today what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is cut down some smaller trees to get a little bit of practice in with this chainsaw. And then once I'm a little bit more comfortable, I could focus on falling some of these larger trees. And then I've got, you know, a snatch block, a hand winch, a whole bunch of stuff to make sure that these trees fall the correct way and not where they're leaning, which is right over the cabin. But like I said, I've got a lot of practice that I need to do with that. All right, over on this side of the cabin, I had thought maybe about putting the tower right here. The issue with that is these stumps. There's 4 stumps right here. There's these 2 trees that obviously need to come down. So this is going to be infested with roots and these big old stumps, and I don't know what my dad's tractor is capable of. Of course I could probably rent some big old machine to dig a hole here, but that's kind of beyond the scope of, you know, what I'd like to do. Eventually these stumps will go, but we just don't have the time. I got to get this tower up. I got to get stable internet. for work especially. Anyway, some of these smaller trees that are leaning, I've got these marked to go. These are actually really clustered together, so at least, you know, 2 of this group are gonna go. There's some down there that are definitely gonna go because they're leaning. I don't think there's any which way about it. These trees are just massive. This one's leaning a little bit towards the cabin. So these 3 or 4 here have to go. This big one right here, it is leaning a little bit away, so we might be able to keep that one. I don't want to get rid of all of the trees, but I mean, imagine if a windstorm comes through here, this big tree right here, while it is leaning slightly away, imagine a windstorm comes in through here, blows the tree towards the cabin, and you know, maybe it's super rainy or something, and just imagine this tree decides to fall on top of the cabin. This tree is so massive, it'd crush the cabin, probably knock the walls over, and I'd probably be dead. Might need to get rid of this one as well, and the only reason is because it's just so massive. Now, I could always come back and plant more trees. Yeah, it'll take several years for them to grow, but I just don't think it's so safe having such massive trees so close to the cabin. And then there's also, you know, fire comes through, those branches up there, they start dropping flames on top of the cabin. That's the end of the cabin. So it's kind of a twofold issue. And yeah, I think I'd feel much comfortable if there were smaller trees closer to the cabin. So that's the plan for today. So you guys might be wondering why I took the time to measure this 13-ish foot section here and not cut it into separate pieces of firewood. The reason is one, we're going to be moving the shed, and 2, by moving it, I mean, we're going to be tearing this one down and building a new one. So this one's definitely quite a bit run down, and I think it's time to upgrade and make a new one. Now, instead of doing what was done here and just using like 2x4s and 2x6s and kind of building a makeshift shed, I'm going to make a shed out of logs. Now, because I'm thinking about having the fireplace on this inside corner here, it's either going to be there or it's going to be the opposite corner. I haven't decided yet, but if it's this inside corner, then what I'll end up doing is putting a set of stairs right here that comes down, and then building just a firewood shed right here. I don't know if it's going to come out this way or if it's just going to go along the cabin. Probably better if it comes out. Or alternatively, if we put the stove in this corner of the cabin over here, then I can do a firewood shed along this wall here. Now, eventually, I do want to dig this out and down to be level with this slab of concrete right here. In fact, if we move this stuff here, by the way, this is where the old outside shower was before we had the add-on in the shower in there. If we come into here and we take a close look, we have Dad, Alicia, Corey, I guess it was Dad that spelt my name on this one. It's certainly missing a T. Matthew. And Kyle. And May 25th, 1990. That was a long time ago. And I don't know if there's any more on here. I thought Tammy might be on here, but... Alright guys, so it's a few days after that previous clip, but I just wanted to make sure that we made it in here. We did actually uncover a little bit more here, and we found Tammy's handprint. So what I'm thinking is the final decision is if you could see we're on the west side of the cabin, I'm thinking just right in the middle here, putting the tower here, and then eventually having a yard back here. You know, some green grass would be nice. Get rid of, you know, a few of these trees, definitely get rid of those. And I think I want to get rid of this one and this one and this one today. And this little guy, he's curious. But yeah, so I think what I might do is clear out these trees down in this area today. I did start a little bit over there where the swing was, and I'll address those trees at some point. But I definitely want to get these two out of here hopefully today. The thing is I need to get rid of these before the tower goes up, and I think we're going to try to dig the hole for the tower next weekend. All right, so we're going to start with these two trees right here, because they're going to be a pain in the butt, and we need them to go that way-ish. Would be nice. Somehow. Well, the camera died during that time lapse, but I did get a lot of work done. Got the dirt all cleared up a little bit. You know, got future plans to do kind of a yard in this area, so I did a little bit of cleanup work and whatnot. I got to figure out what I want to do as far as these stumps are concerned. How do I get rid of the stumps? I think one plan is to rot them out, and there's ways to accelerate that. Another idea would be to either rent a larger backhoe for a day or a bulldozer or something and just pull them out. I haven't decided which way to do that yet, but I got until, well, I gotta do some research into it. Next year is when I want to start working on getting a decent yard put in here. But for now, I don't know if you could see them, but I certainly can't. Oh, there they are. I've got 4 white dots painted into the ground. That's going to be the 5-foot hole that I got to dig for the foundation of the tower. I didn't realize it was so big. In my mind, for whatever reason, I was thinking a little bit smaller, but I mean, technically, I think that's about maybe more along the lines of 6 by 6, but that's about the size of the hole that I want to dig. Then I got to get it formed up, so on and so forth. Actually, the hole will probably be 5 by 5 would be ideal. I think the minimum size is 4.5 by 4.5. But I definitely want at least the part of the foundation that sticks up above the ground, which will be a little bit, will be hopefully 4.5 by 4.5. Well, the hole is dug. It's about 3 foot bigger on each side than it's supposed to be, but it's got the right depth, so that's a plus. To figure out if I need to do anything to make this look a little bit nicer. Not necessarily look nicer, but hopefully not use as much concrete. I ain't so concerned as much as the price, as much as I'm concerned about. It's partly price, but I'd prefer it to be one truck. So as far as concrete goes, so I may have to do a little bit of work to ensure that. If it's more than one truck, then prices get a little bit excessive. I think especially up here, but I mean, either way, it shouldn't be too bad. But that's just something I'll have to fix. I knew I should have marked it better, but I didn't. Alrighty guys, it is a few days later. It's a beautiful evening, and I've got some more work done. Don't mind the clothes. So, couple things. One, the hole that I dug was garbage, so I had my dad come up and clean it up a little bit. Thank goodness for him, because he made this hole beautiful. Far more beautiful than I was capable of doing. Anyway, so I've got this box in here for this tower. I've got it reinforced pretty well. I did only go with 1/2 inch plywood. Maybe I should have gone a little bit thicker. It is what it is. We are where we are. And anyways, this box should be more than enough to hold in the concrete for this. Fingers crossed. We've got the tower in here. It is plumb and ready to go. Tomorrow, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna actually head to town tomorrow. I've got a couple things that I need to get, fill some propane bottles and whatnot. But the main thing I need to remember tomorrow is, well, propane and some Quickcrete, the pre-mix cement. And basically, I just want to cement everything in place down here. I want to fill in some of these edges, these bottom edges, for instance, down over here and around this area. There's just a lot of space there. So I kind of want to pre-fill some of that stuff and let it harden a little bit. And then tomorrow, I'll also see if I could get some stakes or whatnot, just to make sure that this thing is held down. It's not going anywhere. The biggest worry is not even a blowout isn't the worry. I could reinforce all of this stuff and make sure it's not going to blow out. That's no problem. The biggest worry is concrete going underneath and then pushing the form up. That's the biggest worry. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I want to fill in the edges, and also another reason to fill in the edges or put some concrete in the bottom there is to make sure that these tower legs are firmly in place and that they're not going anywhere. I don't know if you guys could see the wires that we got going on here, but those wires will hold it in place. And then also what we'll do is I'll just wet drop some rebar in, do some wet set on the rebar. Now the plans don't call for rebar, but you can't really go wrong with rebar. So I'm gonna make sure there's some rebar gets in here, and yeah, it's looking good. Hopefully not. So we're shooting for Wednesday or Thursday for the pour, and let's see here. Yeah, shooting for Wednesday or Thursday for the pour. And then what that means is probably a week after the pour is when I could assemble and erect the tower. I want to give it at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks for this thing to cure before I actually erect the tower. I think after a week, what I might do is, well, after even, you know, a couple days, I could take this section down or roll it over, tilt it over, and assemble the rest of the tower and get it ready to be pulled up. That's going to be a project in itself. All right, guys. Well, we are all set and ready to go as far as this tower pour is concerned. We got our big box in the ground. I don't know what I showed you guys last time, but we've got these supports on the side, 2 on each side to help keep the box down if it has a tendency to float. We've got stakes to help keep those down as well. On the sides here, we have posts in the middle on all 4 sides. That, along with these, should keep the box from wanting to move if it has a tendency to do such. And as you can see on the middle here, hopefully, I've got everything cemented in place so that when we do pour concrete in here, nothing moves. I've got all 3 doohickeys, connectors, mounting hardware, whatever. It's all wired in a crisscross, so that's not going to go anywhere. When the concrete pours on the wires, it shouldn't pull too much on the frames, but we'll try to avoid those regardless. So we are ready to drop concrete in the hole and fill it up. It was a lot of work getting to this point. A lot of work, but so far we've got just the first section of tower here. We need this just to make sure that the mounting hardware is aligned no matter what. Even if it does get, you know, fudged a little bit, everything will be aligned. I've doubled, tripled, quadrupled, centennial. I don't know what centennial means. What's the A1? Octuple. Checked the plumbness on this. In fact, I'm probably going to check it again here in a moment, just to quadruple check, triple, octuple, make sure everything is plumb and straight, because the last thing we want is to get this foundation poured, get it set, get it cured and everything, put a level on the tower and find out it's not perfectly plumb. So, but yeah, there's the hole. Concrete's on its way, should be here in about an hour. August 25th, 2022. Mountain Cabin Homestead. Beautiful. Alrighty guys, that's going to be the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've got to let this pad cure for a week before, at least a week before I attempt to erect the tower. So we're going to end the episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. If you'd like to see more content like this in the future, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.